What's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and this one I just finished playing is Snoopy's Great Adventure, Snoopy's Epic Adventure, whatever, Grand Adventure. There you go, Snoopy's Grand Adventure for the PlayStation 4 is what I played it on, but it's available on other systems as well. And on first impressions of this game when I played it was that it's like Mario. It's like a side scroller where you jump and you get items and you kill enemies and you do boss battles to save some people, or in this case, find people as they're playing hide and seek, and Snoopy finding them, and you're doing through missions and stuff like that. But it's also just kind of like a little fun game for younger audiences and older audiences alike, kind of like Kirby Epic Yarn as well. What it turned out to be was one of the most repetitive, boring, jank games I've ever played. But I will give it credit. It at least functions as a video game. It at least plays well. It's at least simple to figure out. It's at least, somewhat fun for some part of it. It has at least, it doesn't have any bugs or functionality issues. It's fine in that regard. So at least they got that. The animation, it's based off of the Peanuts movie that came out in 2015. Fun fact, the only movie I've ever seen in the theaters multiple times. Fun fact. So the animation's kind of like that. They don't really play on the story of the Peanuts movie that much. I guess not. It's based off of Snoopy, who's not the main character of the Peanuts movie, though one of the more recognizable ones, but I don't know. I feel like, it just feels weird. It feels different. Maybe it's because there's no dialogue, but that plays along with the Peanuts because, Snoopy doesn't talk. He's a dog. It's not Brian Griffin here, okay? But maybe it plays along with that. But a lot of the levels, a lot of the things were very, very repetitive. It's like 6 worlds you play in. And certain amount of levels, and you fight all these bosses, like based on Lucy, and the piano playing guy was like the final boss, which was really weird. Linus, the pigpen guy, and everything, and the Red Baron too, that you fight and you play, and those are some of the easiest boss battles I've ever done, and only one of them is really a boss battle. The rest of them are just avoiding stuff, or completing a course, or racing the damn thing. They're not even really boss battles. So there's really no hard ways to play the game. The only one that's really like a boss battle is the first one, where you shoot baseballs at Peppermint Patty's face. That's the only one that's really a boss battle. And even then, it's really just timing the launches of the balls. It's not really anything that you have to really worry about. It's not anything that's hard to do. So weird. I don't understand that. Why would they all call them boss battles if they're not really all boss battles? That's so weird. Like, even the Red Baron, you can shoot the Red Baron, but it does nothing. All you're really doing is trying to avoid its bullets, avoid the missiles, and just get to the end. Of course, there's literally a bar on the bottom. That's just when you're getting to the fucking finish line. And then there's a bunch of stuff in the levels as well. And there's a little bit of bonus content that you can do in this game to collect everything. I will say, though, there's no reason to do that. There's no reason. Like, you might get achievements, but that's it. If you're going for achievements, that's the only reason to go back and do this again. Because you collect these, like, Beagle Scouts or whatever, but you don't get any rewards for collecting Beagle Scouts. Like, the air level, Skies of Paris, I collected all the Beagle Scouts possible. Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. There's no really reason to do that. And collecting jelly beans, you collect jelly beans. I bet that gets you an achievement. I didn't go through and collect all the jelly beans, but that seemed like it did nothing. Like, it's not a currency. It's no way to spend them. There's no reason to have them. There's no reason to really go for them, in my opinion. There's no really reason they don't say there is. Just say collect all the jelly beans, but they don't say why to collect all the jelly beans. The same reason they don't say why to collect all the Beagle Scouts. That kind of thing. Changes the unplayability of this game. And then the little fucking things like this, like they say, like, you can't kill them. Like, for the first half of the game, like, you can't kill these enemies. You can only stun them to move forward in the game without them attacking you. But then later in the game, with these goo ball guys, you can actually kill them. Or like, some things you can freeze to jump over, or some things you can break, and they die. And then it gets a little bit more combative at the end of the game, but they don't stick to that narrative. So Why even have them at that point? And then there's costumes, right? You can collect these keys for costumes that you can then, when you unlock all the costumes, you can go back and go back through the levels and use the costumes to get all the other stuff. That's why they say to do the game more than once. That you have to do the game at least twice if you are wanting to do achievement collecting. The costumes have no real need to be there. The thing with all the levels is there's a way to do. There's like 6 ways to complete the levels. You can do it with a certain costume. You can do it with multiple costumes. You can do it with no costume at all. You can still complete the levels. Like there's no reason to play the levels and play with the costumes. Like some of them, they make it easier to complete a level, make it a little more simple. But that's a rare occasion. And then all of the moves that they do, they suck. All these moves on these costumes suck. Their abilities are horrible. They have no reason to be there. So I would end up usually just not using them at all. I would unlock them, but I wouldn't use them. I would just play regular Snoopy, because the helicopter thing he does with his ears seemed to be the most useful ability in the game. And you couldn't hit anything. Like the only costume that breaks anything is the detective, the bandit guy who breaks through boxes. That's it. Like, really? That's it? That's really annoying. And you need these hearts, and you start with 3 hearts, and you go up to a maximum of 7. You get 1 for completing each level and everything. Almost, I think. Completing each world, there's about 4 or 5 levels in each one, along with a boss with it and everything. And so, you get that, I guess. So you can do that, but the hearts don't mean anything, because you can collect the hearts after you lose them. If you get them in a much certain amount of time, you can, keep them. And then the cookies to regenerate a heart, sometimes they decide to regenerate all your health. Sometimes they regenerate just 1 heart. It's really hit or miss. I didn't really see a difference, like when regenerated all your hearts or just one of them. Or you can just collect the hearts back. But sometimes you would just stand there and you would just randomly die. Like I died once for no reason at all. And you can run out of hearts, obviously, and that's how you die as well. And then, but you can't fall off of anything. You can't drown. Like, there's a lot of things you go through water, but you can't drown. So, I mean, it's just stupid. They make it stupidly easy to complete the game with really little to no fun aspect. And it gets really boring and really repetitive after, like, 3 or 4 levels of playing the game. Especially with, like, the air levels, where it's just literally the same thing over and over again for 4 levels. It's absolutely monotonous, but for the demographic it is appealed to, which is younger audiences, it's, a passable game, functional, good for them, I would say. But for me, I'm going to have to give it a good 6 out of 10, because it's not a fun game at all. But, I mean, for the younger audiences, you recommend playing that. You pick it up for your cousin or daughter or son or whoever. I think it's a good game for them to play, especially if they like the Peanuts characters. So that's going to do it for my game review of Snoopy's Grand Adventure. Stay tuned for more game reviews and other much more amazing content. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.